All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I am Lupagus, and the Chicago Bears division rival releasing two longtime members of that franchise. And like we always do, when anybody is released, immediately think Vikings should go out and sign those guys. So should the Vikings sign Cody Whitehair or Eddie Jackson? We're going to talk about that before we do. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, like, and comment. Also, download Underdog Fantasy if you have not yet done it. Promo code SKULL will match your first 100 bones and also give you a free mystery special, which is basically like a gimme. Basketball season's going on strong. There's golf now. Some college basketball if your state allows that. So a lot of things to do some higher or lowers on. Very fun. So Underdog Fantasy, get it. All right, speaking of getting it, should the Vikings get Cody Whitehair? Should the Vikings get Eddie Jackson? Let's talk about the players, and then we'll talk about the fits with the Vikings. So Cody Whitehair, he's been with the Bears since 2016. I believe he was the second round pick. Is that correct? But a guy, versatility. Versatility is his name of his game. Guard, center. You look at what he was going to do last year. He was going to play center. Then Tevin Jenkins went out. So then he had to slide over and play left guard. Very versatile guy who can play multiple positions on the interior and played them pretty well, at least when he was a little bit younger. He started 118 games in his career. Last year, not so great. He was battling, I believe it was a hand injury. Plays started to fall off. He got benched and he was replaced and then kind of saw spot duty after that. So Cody Whitehair, a guy who's, probably his best playing days are behind him. He is 31 years old, but you look at what the Vikings have at center. Garrett Bradbury, really probably a similar boat. I mean, the way some of the games he had, especially toward the end of the year last year, were just flat out horrible. You got Whitehair 6'3", 316 pounds. At least with Whitehair, you have a center option and you have a backup at both guard spots. He can play either one. I don't know. I mean, maybe you think about it, 31 years old for 1 year. If you're going to move on from Bradbury, maybe this is a move you make. You bring in a Whitehair and you draft someone maybe in round 4 who you could maybe think you could be the future at center. It's a possibility. I don't think it's overly likely that the Vikings go that route and bring Whitehair in. Though you would have asked me back in the 2016 draft, I would have traded anything to go up and get Cody Whitehair. Let's talk about Eddie Jackson. Again, you think of Eddie Jackson, you think of a ball hawk. He was a 4th-round pick in 2017. 2018, he led the league with not just he had 2 interception returns for touchdowns. That was kind of his MO there for a while, scoring when he makes the interceptions. Let's go over his career stats. 459 tackles, 14 tackles for a loss. He's 6 fumble recoveries, 10 forced fumbles, 44 pass breakups, 15 interceptions, 3 career touchdowns. So a guy who was a playmaker on that back end. He had a foot injury that kind of derailed him. I think it was a season ago, still kind of lingering. He was kind of more of just a quarterback on the field last year for the Bears. Playmaking ability didn't really show itself. He had just 1 interception last year, but he had 4 in 2022. He is only 30 years old. So again, if you're going to get rid of Harrison Smith and get rid of that huge contract, move on from him, Eddie Jackson kind of makes sense as a veteran guy, a guy who's seen everything back there, and he still has some playmaking ability to him. So maybe of the two, I think maybe Eddie Jackson might be a more likely option. I don't think he's going to cost a ton. I mean, both these guys did have some fat contracts coming up. I think the Bears ended up saving like $21 million by releasing them. But again, now that this has happened, lowers their value a little bit. So I think both these guys could actually be had at a fairly decent price. And then you can sign these guys before free agency starts. So you could essentially knock out a position a need, or at least I don't think either one's going to solve a need, but at least get a piece at one of those positions and fill it out by signing one of these guys. So again, Eddie Jackson, who I guess they call Bojack, is to me, maybe a little more interesting and intriguing. And the fact that I think he could maybe still have some good years of football, productive football, and, maybe add a game-changing play every now and then, which is something the Vikings could use in the back end. So let us know in the comments. What do you think? Eddie Jackson, Cody Whitehair, any interest from you guys? Should the Vikings pursue either one? Do you think they will? I tend to think they probably won't, but you never know. That's why we're talking about it. It's always fun to snag a division rival player, especially when these guys, Eddie Jackson, Cody Whitehair, guys who've been battling for years. All right, let me know in the comments what you think. And also remember to keep your skull in your hole.